Today, we're talking about how to create high converting YouTube ads. If you want your ads to perform better or are just getting started and want to skip the line in creating more profitable ads, this video is for you. Now look, I've literally studied thousands of YouTube ads, and it turns out there's a simple formula to create profitable real estate YouTube ads. If you simply follow this framework, your lead flow will skyrocket immediately. This is the simple framework for how to create profitable ads with tactical examples and tips for how to implement each step. By the way, I'm Liam. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on YouTube ads. I've generated hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in commissions for my current clients, and creating YouTube ads is all I do all day long. So let's get into it. And so step one, probably intuitively, you've already guessed, is actually doing the research and the data in order to craft the ads and the frameworks, etc. And so what you're gonna wanna do, and what I recommend to all my clients, is building a market research document. Basically just a master document going over everything that has to do with your ICP, your demographic, your competitors, all of that kind of stuff in order to organize it so you don't get all jumbled when it comes to actually just plugging and playing all of the different inputs and outputs with the frameworks of the actual ads itself. So what you're gonna wanna do is search for a couple different things, okay? First is local market conditions. You can look for things like current inventory, price trends, interest rates, all that kind of stuff. Look for seasonal patterns, when the best times to buy and sell are in your specific area. Demographic analysis, who's moving to your area and why. The competitor landscape, what other agents are promising and delivering, and then other economic factors as well, like job market, development projects, school districts, et cetera, et cetera. And for specifically YouTube specific market additions, what you're gonna wanna do is add things like visual opportunities, like neighborhoods that showcase well on video, before and after potential. So home transformations, staging results, educational content gaps, like what buyers and sellers don't currently understand. And then success story elements, which are the top performing one, basically client transformations. And this creates that emotional connection. And just building out all of this, you're gonna be good to go. And then you can move on into step number two, which is finding the angles. And so by far, hands down, the best way to find angles is by going on Reddit, because it's one of the best platforms for coming up with angles, because most of the time users on there are very vulnerable and honest compared to other social media platforms where it's usually sponsored or performative, all that kind of stuff. And what you're gonna wanna do is basically, you're gonna wanna search certain keywords on these sites. So for buyers, like first-time home buyer scared is good. How much house can I afford? Bidding war stress, things that are general. It's not like full-on sentences, but keywords that are relevant to pain points in your market. So if we look up this, I actually pulled up something, I went back, first-time home buyer scared. I went on, I looked at a couple of different articles. The third one I found is a perfect example. So is it normal to feel paranoid buying your first home? So I'm currently under contract, and every step of the way, I felt like the people were acting on their own interest instead of mine, from lenders to inspectors. Literally every person has given me slimy vibes and I feel paranoid. My first quote came from Rocket Mortgage that was 7.125%. There you go. Boom. So you have a ton of different pain points you can talk about off the cuff, right? Tired of lenders giving you interest rates that are extremely high? Or have you felt like every agent you've talked to has given off a slimy vibe? For example, these are really good hooks that you can talk about within the ads themselves. And you can just go on and continue to look more and more things up. Same things apply with seller keywords, emotional keywords, all of that kind of stuff. Look for articles, figure out different angles you can approach, combine different articles, and just figure out all of the different pain points that are specific to your ICP, your ideal customer profile. And specifically here, like we've already done, we've extracted fear patterns, so specific anxieties, knowledge gaps, what people don't understand, bad experiences, time pressures, financial concerns, relationship dynamics. All of this was addressed in just this one post. You can literally make a whole ad out of this post, to be honest with you. I don't recommend doing that, but you can use multiple and you're gonna be really good to go. And then for part three, we have the ad creation itself. So this is broken down into three parts. You have the hook, the body, and the close. So the hook is gonna account for 80% of your ad success. The better the hook, the better the throughput, improving retention, okay? If you don't have a good hook, no one's gonna watch your video. They're gonna click off and you're not gonna make any money. Just some examples as far as good buyer hooks go. You wanna make sure that you're doing a pattern interrupt, meaning that when someone sees your ad, okay? When someone sees it, You want to stop them from continuously scrolling, and you want to inform them through education, okay? Or just through some sort of bold claim. So nobody tells first-time buyers about this $8,000 mistake. And this is going to tie into exactly what this person's feeling. If they were to go through with the quote from Rocket Mortgage of a 7.125% interest rate, they'd be making probably somewhere between $8,000 within that range of a mistake, right? And so they're going to resonate with this. Another thing, like I've helped 15 plus first buyers avoid this bidding war trap. 3 words that instantly disqualify your mortgage application. All of those different things that are huge pain points and common issues that most first-time home buyers are experiencing, right? Or just buyers in general. And the same applies with sellers, right? And you can take a screenshot of this. This staging mistake cost my client $47,000 in their sale price. Why pricing your home at market value actually costs you money. And then another thing is the one question that determines if you're ready to sell. All of these things most people experience, and one that is really good is this second one here. One that most people do, they feel confident in, but you need to plant that seed of doubt because sometimes they're not fully aware of the entirety of the picture. And you might think like, oh, this is manipulative or whatever, but in actuality, you're just saving them that much more money, which confident people that are already doing well, that have something they can actually improve on, tend to have way, way more trust in the person delivering that information than someone who's already skeptical and has then slowly built trust with another agent. So how you can structure the script out of all this is basically within the first 0 to 5 seconds, you want to establish the hook and your credibility, okay? Then within the first 5 to 15 seconds, you want to introduce problem agitation. So introduce the specific fear. So if you're struggling with XYZ, if you're tired of spending, or wasting thousands of dollars and high interest rates, et cetera, if you're struggling with finding the right home for the right interest rate, all that kind of stuff, that's problem agitation. Then within the next 15 to 25 seconds, we have the solution preview plus the unique process. So how we solve the high interest rates and our unique way of doing so. Then in the next 25 to 35 seconds, you're going to introduce a success story and transformation. So I helped John find his first home, $50,000 under market value with interest rates as low as 4%, et cetera, right? And then you're just going to obviously introduce and include clear emotional or numerical results, as well as within the next 35 to 45 seconds, you're going to have the next clear call to action steps that they can take within the ad. So this is usually with YouTube ads, click the blue button, fill out the application, and you'll get, a custom list of homes, a guide on how to sell your home for top dollar, whatever offer you're providing. This is encouraging them to take the next step. And then the last 45 to 60 seconds is just introducing urgency. So for example, this will only be available for a limited time. So click on the button now and follow the steps before it's too late. Now, another important thing you can do is utilize AI in order to generate real estate ad angles, okay? What you can do is you can upload your research documents that you've created, and you can enter in a prompt in AI, for example, based on this research, create ad angles ranked by urgency and emotional impact. And basically, obviously, if you have buyer focus, you're going to want to tend towards that. You're going to want to obviously integrate it based on market timing, all of those different variables. But you can use things like ChatGPT in order to come up with the frameworks to then lay out the ad, and then use another thing like Claude to refine it and make it sound more humanistic. Now, to verify at the end of doing all of this, in order to ensure everything looks good, you want to make sure that every script has to address the research Reddit concerns. You don't want to just add in some random fluff or information or unrealistic things that are not real and relevant to your market. So make sure you're doing that. It's not outdated as well. And another thing is an authenticity check. So use the exact language patterns from the Reddit research. You want to have the credibility enhancement. Make sure to add specific local expertise indicators. If you're not using local results, people aren't going to feel like it's as applicable to them because the distance between areas is a huge turnoff when it comes to grabbing people in. And then finally, just visual planning. So note down what should be shown on each script segment. And so finally, you want to add in optimization. So this is mostly the video editing and the post-production aspect of things. And what you'll want to do is add in B-roll, okay? B-roll keeps the user engaged. So for buyers, have pre-approval meeting footage, home tour walkthroughs, inspection process documentation, anything that's relevant to the buyer journey. And likewise, the same thing for sellers. So listing preparation and staging, professional photography sessions, showing appointment montages, etc. Again, anything that's relevant to the journey of your ICP. Another key thing you want to do is test out multiple different angles of ads. You always want to start off, which I always do, with a minimum of 5 to 10 hooks and 2 to 3 different body variations, because this is going to give you enough footage to test, find winners, and also be able to constantly refresh creatives when ads start to perform less or suboptimal. And when creating the variations, just some different things you can do is, for example, you can say the same thing in a different setting. So if you're inside in one video, go outside, try a whole different location. If you're in a studio, go maybe out to a listing appointment, etc. You can do different formats. So instead of doing landscape mode, try portrait mode, although I always recommend to start off with landscape mode. Another thing you can do is say the same thing, but with a different person. So you can have a business partner variation ad instead of you speaking. If there's a female speaking in the original ad, try a male, an actor instead of you. All these different things can improve or maybe not improve the ad, but you have to test it to figure out what the winners are. Also, another thing is saying the same thing with different editing. So you can have a raw, uncut version of an ad. You can have a faster pacing version of an ad, flashy, creative, or less flashy. These are another way. And then finally, just saying the same thing in a different way. So trying out different hooks and new bodies like we already talked about when actually creating the ads. And these variations should honestly mostly be implemented once you find a winning or semi-winning ad, because then you really know what variables are isolated and which things are winning, because you'll never know if an ad isn't performing well if you changing it actually made that much of a difference comparative to just it being literally just the script that you're doing. Now, as always, guys, the reason I made this channel is to make it easier for real estate businesses to get better at ads, to get more leads, and to grow their real estate business. That's all I'm doing. I give away all the game on this channel for free because I just really want to see people win. But if you think you'd benefit more from getting YouTube ads implemented directly and getting more high quality leads, I work one-on-one with a select number of people. So if you're interested, click the link in the description and book in a call with me. Aside from that, that's all I've got for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.